Alright, and welcome to training video number 1 for Fusion 360 Robotics. In today's video, we're going to cover a few things to help familiarize you and get you oriented with the Fusion 360 platform. So hopefully you have all signed up for your educational license using the links provided on the Robotics Moodle page or through your Remind. That is a free educational 1-year license. If you've had it for more than 1 year, you may have to renew it. So today we're going to start by opening Fusion 360. When you open Fusion 360, your screen should look like this. It may open already to your projects window. If not, you can open that by clicking on the little menu grid that says Show Data Panel. Okay. And if we need to open a project that's already been created, all of those projects will show up in here. If you need to start a new project, you can click on this New Project button right here, or just begin inside of the untitled project that starts when you open the tool. Okay, the first thing I want to cover is how to set and change your default units. So there's a lot of customization that you can do inside of your preferences. So once you have logged in the upper right-hand corner, you will see an icon or your name or initials. When you click on that, you'll get to your Autodesk Fusion 360 Preferences window. Go ahead and open up that Preferences window and start at the General. Inside here, you can set your language, and most importantly, right in here, we are going to change our pan, zoom, and orbit shortcuts. Everyone has their preferences. I prefer to use the Tinkercad preferences, which does the left button of the mouse as select. The middle button scroll wheel is zoom in and out. The middle button is pan if you press and drag it, and then the right wheel is the orbit. That's a little different than the standard Fusion 360, so play with those different things and see which one you like the best. Then the next thing we're going to change is our default units for design. Most of our measurements that are given to us inside of BEST are given to us in inches, so go ahead and change that from millimeters to inches. You can always change it back and forth inside of every model or when you come on. And that should be all you need to really mess with for now inside of your default settings. So change your zoom pan orbit to your own preference and change your default units. If I need to select those units later, inside of my model document settings, I click that little down arrow and I can change my units right there as well. That does not change them for every project, just the project that I'm currently in. I'll caution you that if you change the units and you've already got sketches or models created, it can wreak all kinds of havoc in your dimensions. So don't change your units once you've already started modeling. All right. So let's look at this program and some of the other ways to navigate around the program. So you'll see your grid and that shows your X, Y, and Z axis. Again, you can rotate around. If you've changed it to Tinkercad settings, you just hold your right button down, and you can see your icon changes to the orbit. And then you can scroll left and right, up and down, and you can flip your world around however you like it. Okay, that middle wheel in the Tinkercad, if you press it, changes to your pan, and it just slides left, right, up, and down, but doesn't change your axis or your orientation. And then the left wheel will allow you, or the left button will allow you to select items that are on the grid. Down at the bottom of your screen, you have some other zoom and view controls. You can change to your orbit tool and your free orbit tool down here. You can also look at or inspect items, and you can go to pan, and then you can zoom in and out. You can zoom to a selection window or a fit if you want the whole model to appear. You can change your display settings, and you can change your grid, so you can delete that grid. And one of the things I really like to change is I like to undo the snap to grid, which gives me a little more precision in where I place things. It doesn't try to place them for me, and that's important sometimes. Okay. All right, in the top right-hand corner, you have your View cube, which allows you to very quickly get to different preset views. The Home button will always start you in this top right orthographic view of your model. So anytime you've flipped it upside down or changed it and you don't know how to get back, just hit that Home button and it'll automatically reorient you to that orthographic. Then in the cube, as you hover over the cube, you'll notice that different elements of the cube are selectable. By highlighting and then clicking on one of those, it will change to that view. So you can rotate around that way, and then you can flip that way as well. Okay, so this cube will always show you your x-axis, your y-axis being the up and down, and the z is that three-dimensional depth axis, the in and out. All right. Those axes also show up here under our origin. We can hide different planes, which is something that's a little more advanced, but you may need to do at some point. All right, so that is your basic navigation through the file. And the last thing I want to show you in this video is how to access your projects and how to save your file when you're done. So your new files will come up as untitled, but as soon as you save them, it will give them a name, and then it will begin to auto-save in certain increments. But you want to start a project. So a project is not a file, it's more like a folder of files. So you can hit New Project and give it a name. So Best 2020 was our CAD project file from last year. Once you are here, when you hit File, Save, and then you go ahead and give it a name, and it'll confirm that you're in the right project folder. So we will call this one Test Robot 1, and then we will put our last name, because there are some shared folders that we'll get to in another training video where we can all CAD in the same shared folder. So Gilbert, Best 2020, hit Save. And I'll notice that as soon as I've done that, my grid changes, and I will also get a new preview somewhere down here. There's a lot of stuff, but Test Robot Gilbert showed up there. All right, so that concludes this training video. In our next training video, we will cover uploading parts that are already CAD'd for us from the BEST library, and then adding those parts to a model, and then we'll cover the basic sketching techniques.